Hello friends, it makes me feel great to introduce to all of you N.Sathyanarayan. Satya is the only faculty in the country who has given CLAT 5 consecutive times and have cracked CLAT every time. So welcome Satya in today's session. One big question which is coming from students across India is what has been the change in the test pattern of CLAT in 2020? Can you throw some light on it?
Okay, thanks Mohit. That's a very interesting question, and people who have been following me on different social media also would have read my answers on that. So here's the thing that you should be knowing about what is different in CLAT 2020. To just give you a brief history, CLAT started, the common law admission test by the NLU started in 2008 until 2014 was a paper and pen test. Starting 2015, they started introducing the online version, which happened till 2018, and in 2019 they reverted back to the paper and pen format. A lot of representation was apparently made by students that they felt that the number of questions being asked in the CLAT examination in the limited number of hours, that is 2 hours, is extremely high. So the CLAT consortium which was formed, it took a note of this fact, it took cognizance of this fact, and they said that it is unfair to ask 200 questions and expect students to solve them in a matter of 120 minutes, that is 2 hours. So the first thing which they did was they proportionally reduced the number of questions. So instead of 200 questions in 120 minutes, it is now 150 questions in the same 120 minutes. But having said that, the weightage of each of the 5 sections, which includes English, mathematics, GK, logical reasoning and legal reasoning, remains the same. So when English and logic was 20%, it used to be 40 marks in 200. Now it is still 20%, but it is proportionally reduced, right? So percentage wise, it is the same, but the number of questions is fit to 3/4 of the original. Now, one of the things which the CLAT consortium happened to mention is that a lot of students were not comfortable with the fact that that questions asked in the former editions of the CLAT used to be based on rote learning, just memorizing things related to vocabulary, like let's say synonyms and antonyms, or things related to understanding and remembering articles of law. That was not exactly what was testing whether the student was qualified enough, had the right aptitude to get into law. So what they have done is that they have shifted away from questions which are based on rote learning to things which require you to apply your mind. So as a result, how have the sections changed? Well, let's take them one by one. In English, instead of expecting questions where you just memorize the answers in terms of vocabulary based questions, it is more of reading a passage which is given to you and answering questions which require you to apply your critical thinking skills. So it's more of reading comprehension based questions which we can expect. Similarly, when we go to a section, let's say like reasoning, which originally used to comprise of both analytical and verbal reasoning, now the emphasis is more on verbal reasoning. So things like assumptions, conclusions, arguments, these are things which you can expect to have more weightage. But that would not come as a big surprise to a lot of students who have been following the CLAT pattern, because the CLAT consciously has been shifting away from analytical reasoning to more of a verbal reasoning years since the past few years. The biggest change which students feel is in the GK section, where it simply used to be a one-liner question followed by 4 options. Now they will give you a passage and then there would be questions asked which would require you to know the passage and its content. However, it is not exactly reading comprehension where you just cherry pick the answers from the given information. Still, you do require to regularly read on current affairs, because that passage will only serve as a stimulus. You still need to be able to reproduce the answer to the question from memory. So instead of just reading a sentence and answering one question, it will be a passage on base of which will be asked 4 to 6 questions. And it's not just that the answer will directly be there in the passage, but it will serve to jog your memory, right? So a person who has reasonably read up on a lot of different affairs during the years in terms of current affairs will be able to answer these questions. Now, legal aptitude seems to be a bit of a change, but legal aptitude was never about knowing the law, right? It was never about understanding what are the exact sections of the Indian Contracts Act, or what is meant by tort, or what are the legal maxims, so on and so forth. It was always just being able to understand what is written as the fact and principle and then applying it using your verbal reasoning skills. So pretty much the questions will be the same, but instead of giving you a small set of facts, it would be a large principle on which you have to apply. So students who are good at reading comprehension will not face any difficulty as far as the legal section goes. Which brings us to the final section, mathematics. And mathematics used to be a bugbear for most students. Why should I remember a formula of time, speed and distance if I want to get into law? Why do I need to know how to find out the weighted average of something? So what the CLAT now intends to do apparently is ask questions in mathematics which does not test your memory in terms of memorizing rote learning formulas, but interpreting the given facts. So what was known as data interpretation in a lot of other entrance examinations, predominantly the business management examinations, are now expected to be asked in the CLAT as well, right? If you can read the data, understand it, and if you understand basic concepts of four things. One, basic calculations, which would be addition, multiplication, subtraction, and division. If you understand the concept of averages, if you understand the concept of ratio proportion, and if you understand the concept of percentages, then you should be able to do reasonably well in this section. So now the focus has shifted away from being a speed game to a thing where one, your ability to think, your ability to read is being tested, and critical reasoning is now the prime skill which a student must possess to be able to crack the pattern of CLAT 2020. Now, the CLAT consortium has also officially released a lot of sample papers on the official website. So students who are appearing for 2020 or any of the future exams can simply visit this official website of the CLAT consortium, that is consortium of nlus.ac.in, and you will see sample papers which will tell you exactly what to expect in the new editions of CLAT.
Great. Thank you, Satya. Another thing which I want to check out is there has been a lot of shift in the dates. There has been a lot of shift in the day when the CLAT was supposed to put up their examination, and then there was also a lot of debate happening on whether in 2020 they will still continue taking CLAT to be a pen paper test, or they will take CLAT to be more of they will get back to the computer based test. So what is your take on it? What do you think, according to your best understanding of CLAT, what is something which we can expect, and which date we can expect CLAT to happen?
Okay, that's a very, very tricky question, and very honestly speaking, the situation currently is so dicey that it would be difficult to answer. Let me tell you how exactly it has progressed. So CLAT was supposed to be on the second Sunday of May, which is the traditional date, right? Only 2 editions of CLAT so far have not been conducted on the second Sunday. One was in 2009 when there was some problem with the paper being leaked, and hence it was postponed to the end of May. And one was, I think, 2019 where because of the elections it was purposely postponed to the last week of May. So this year, originally it was supposed to be the pen paper module to be conducted on the 9th of May, if I'm not mistaken. That should be the second Sunday. But because of the pandemic conditions, it got postponed, where they said most probably it would be the end of May. Then again it got postponed, they said sometimes in June. And as of now, the status is officially, according to the CLAT website, the announcement will be made somewhere around the 1st of July, and the students will be given a 21-day window from the day of announcement to be reasonably prepared. So assuming that the announcement comes on 1st of July, most probably it could be on 22nd or some other date. That is 21 days gap will be given to the students to prepare. Now, the mode of testing, whether it will be paper and pen or online, as of now, there is no indication by the official CLAT consortium that they are going to change the mode. It was supposed to be a paper and pen mode. They have not given any indication on whether they are going to shift online. But the best bet guess which I can make here is that if it is to be conducted in a paper and pen mode, there might be logistical issues, right, in terms of social distancing and other things. But on the other hand, going to an online mode may not be what they wanted to do, because they shifted from the online mode to back to paper and pen mode because of technical glitches in 2019. So your guess is as good as mine on what is going to be the mode of the examination. As far as the dates are concerned, I don't see it happening before the end of July. If at all, it will be conducted at that point of time. Just keep following the official website of CLAT as mentioned before. Don't go by rumors, don't go by any unofficial, unauthenticated source of information. You can follow them on social media as well, because they have launched Telegram groups and Instagram groups. That is, CLAT officially has done this, where they keep updating on this information. So all I can do is follow the official sources, and you will get to know firsthand when and where it is going to be conducted.
Okay, Satya, one last question before I finish this interaction with you today. I have got to understand that you are also training, teaching a lot of children, for CLAT, and that had been your passion. And what have you done in this time of pandemic? How you had been connecting with your students? How had you been teaching with your students? And how do you wish to take your teaching to the students in the coming time of 2020 for the children who wish to appear in 2021?
Okay. So our prime mode of teaching, since we started iQue Ideas to the time before Corona, BC, before Corona, we used to primarily coach in the classroom mode, right? But we always had a lot of digital material, online material available in terms of videos which were created, online exercises on digital platform, which our students could access as a mode of revision. Now, starting in March, when we realized that it would not be technically possible, practically feasible for us to have classroom sessions, we immediately upscaled ourselves to go online full-fledged. So starting the end of March, all our students had access to live classes which were conducted through the medium of video conferencing apps, where we used to conduct the classes. For all these sections, students could access this at the comfort and safety of their own homes. We sent digital material to these students. A lot of exercises are available online. We also have pre-recorded sessions available. The links are sent to students. So once the live classes are conducted and students are able to understand it from the teacher live, they have the option of checking pre-recorded videos. We also give this option to all the students, where they can send their doubts on WhatsApp to the faculty members. Now the best part here is, the very teacher who is conducting the live session is the person who is receiving these doubts from the students. So the faculty is able to solve these and send back to the students as soon as possible. In fact, I personally have taken doubts of so many students, and I remember solving questions at home using all my digital equipment and sending these answers, whether it could be a screenshot of the solution worked out. Sometimes when students did not understand just a snapshot, I've recorded small videos where I showed the entire method on paper and sent the videos to the students, and most of the students have appreciated that the doubt solving could be very easily done. So moving ahead, digital is the way, right? People used to say that the future is digital, and we say that the future is here now. We do not know how things are going to be, but that cannot stop us from conducting classes, because education must continue. So iQue Ideas is conducting fully digital classes, where we conduct classroom sessions through the medium of different apps. The students can attend these classes, and they are highly secured environment. After that, the assignments and other things are assigned to them on digital platforms. They can always connect back to us through WhatsApp for individual doubts. There are pre-recorded sessions for students for revision and other things. And one thing that I must add, that whether we believe it or not, we were able to actually deliver more to the students in terms of digital classes than classroom sessions. As my co-faculty members and I would often discuss after the class got over, when it used to be one-on-one interaction in a 1.5 hour class, where we used to have about 45 minutes to an hour of teaching, we used to have about 30 minutes of doubt solving and interaction with the students, where because of shyness or other factors, a lot of students would not find it comfortable to ask their doubts in front of other students, and then their doubts would mostly remain unsolved. But because of the anonymity that the digital medium provides, we could spend the entire 1.5 hour in teaching, and then because they could connect with us through medium which did not require them to be face to face with us, they found it more comfortable to just open up with their doubts. So the number of teaching hours increased, the amount of doubts that we could solve for each student increased, and I'm sure a lot of students found it more comfortable in the digital media. Now, for young students who are in the lower grades, screen time may be a problem. But here, students are basically of standards 11, 10, 12 who are used to a lot of screen time. So they could productively use their hours sitting in the comfort of their home, saving time on commute, saving time on interacting with other students in between the class, and focus more on these things. So digital is the way to go, and iQue Ideas is completely going digital to cater to students for various entrance examinations in 2021 and forward.
Thank you so much, Satya. And I am sure this video will help a lot of CLAT aspirants who wish to appear for 2020 and will give information to students who aspire to appear for CLAT in 2021. Thank you so much.